Everybody, as we wait for our first mandatory Brandon Aiyuk development of the day, we can have a look at the rest of the 49ers receiver position because there's a lot of new content out, especially regarding Deebo Samuel, who last night was out working very, very hard. Let's take a look at some of
So
Deebo Samuel's footwork. The real Delfonte Diamond posted this. Let some sound play here, too.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shoulders. Shoulders. Yeah, shoulders. Shoulders. Shoulders.
And there was more from Deebo here. This is a full 2-minute reel. He might be in South Carolina. I'm not sure. He might be somewhere where it's really hot, so he'd rather practice or train in the dark. But he's doing a lot of resistance training. You saw the footwork. To me, it seems that Deebo Samuel is extremely motivated this summer. It looks like he's in good shape weight-wise, probably keeping it around 210, 215 pounds. Muscle rather than fat. We know that Deebo Samuel is a receiver who plays at a higher weight than your typical wideout because he's a bulldozer. He's set NFL records over the course of his first few years in the league for yards after the catch, yards after contact for a wide receiver. That's because he's just built like a bulldog. And he's training in a fashion right now, and obviously the eating habits have been good as well. He's training in a fashion to make sure that his speed is up to par. He looks very, very light on his feet, and Deebo Samuel's never going to stop being Deebo Samuel. He's always going to have that extremely strong lower body, and he's going to be able to break through tackles. It's a matter of conditioning so that the top end speed is there, and that so his ability to sustain throughout an entire season is there to maximize his chances of being healthy. This is some of the core work that Deebo Samuel was doing. This one, I mean, look at just the sheer strength to be able to take all of these plates on the sled, and just with these thrusts backward, he's able to slide that. I guarantee you, if most of the viewers right now, maybe all 120 of you, there's 123 at the start of the stream. If you guys tried to move that sled, it wouldn't move very far. And Deebo Samuel's moving it with ease. More core stuff. So I think it's going to be fun to watch Deebo Samuel this season. And I always think it's cool to give you the behind the scenes and how these guys prepare. Way too many people treat this like a video game once the season starts, and then they get mad when a guy isn't delivering enough yards for their fantasy team. But I mean, this is high level athleticism and high level strength work that we are seeing from Deebo Samuel. And I think it is important to not only cover what happens on Sundays, but to cover what is happening behind the scenes. Then we have Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, the 49ers' two rookie wide receivers, working some footwork. We're going to play the sound for this one. Check this out, because I think that Ricky Pearsall, especially with the refinement that he has learned from his dad, a former great receiver at Northern Arizona, I think he's got the nuances down. And this is something tremendously exciting for the 49ers team that's looking for better separators at the receiver position.
Right. Smooth. Good. Hold him. Right. Yes, sir.
We're going to go back to the very start of that.
Right. Smooth. Good. Hold him. Right. Yes, sir.
So as we play this again, look at the subtle shoulder lean from Ricky Pearsall as he goes through his footwork drills. The subtle shoulder lean, just the dirty stutter step. I mean, these are natural moves. If you just watch his feet, they change location extremely quickly. It's almost like the camera glitches. But I think that his 0 to 20 speed, and we could talk about 0 to 60 speed later, but just the 0 to 20 speed, the ability to move in an extreme short area is elite for Ricky Pearsall. The measurements said that it was elite coming out of Florida. The tape said that it was really good. And I talk a lot about his quads and the lower body being solid. There's so much concern about Ricky Pearsall and a potential lack of size coming out of the draft. He weighs about 189, 190 pounds. He's not built in the lower body like a typical 190-pound receiver. Brandon Aiyuk, for comparison, about 205. But I think that when you look at Ricky Pearsall's base, the strength is going to be there to beat some of that press coverage. So, I mean, and this video really does highlight that well. Now we can talk about Jacob Cowing, who's here. Jacob is not doing nearly as much work on camera in his couple seconds as Ricky Pearsall was, but Jacob Cowing has got a different superpower, and this is it. This is the top speed in the first 5 yards of the 40-yard dash of wide receivers in the 2024 Combine. Jacob Cowing hit 14.96 miles per hour in the first 5 yards of his 40. So his ability to get off from the line of scrimmage might be the best out of any receiver in this NFL draft. Devontae Walker, Xavier Worthy, who obviously is extremely fast, at number 3, Adonai Mitchell at number 4, and then Jamari Thrash at 5. But Cowing hit nearly 15 miles an hour over the first 5 yards of his 40. That's going to cause opposing defensive backs to take a slight step back. Because if he can win that quickly with speed, you're going to buy a little bit of space. That's called respect from opposing secondaries. I think so many people right now are talking about Ricky Pearsall, and rightfully so. We're going to try to figure out where he's going to fit target share-wise within the entire receiver room. And that's not just throughout the first month of the season. I'm talking about January and February when those 2 months roll around. So there's so much focus on the first-round pick, but Jacob Cowing went later in this draft. And with metrics like this, athletically, with that ability to win in the first 5 yards with speed, I think that could, if he could find his way into this rotation for the 49ers, that in and of itself can allow Kyle Shanahan to expand what he's doing with the whole offense. Remember last year in the postseason, the 49ers called 109 pass plays and only 77 run plays. So they're already shifting to a pass-oriented offense surrounding Brock Purdy. The shift is already here. I'm going to have a receiver analysis coming out this weekend or this Monday. It's already the weekend right now. I think it's going to come out Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday on The Athletic. You can check it out. The receiver analysis looks at how Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel saw efficiency upticks in 2023 versus 2022. So this offense is already looking to spread it out more under Brock Purdy. It's evolving in that way. You're going to add Ricky Pearsall to the mix, and you're also going to add Jacob Cowing to the mix. And we're going to watch a little bit of Jacob Cowing talking after he was drafted.
I'm going to be honest, coming from U of A, with Coach Fish in his NFL background, it's very similar how he threw the playbook at me when I first got there. Very similar how they threw the playbook at me here. So nothing new to me. So it was kind of easy for me to kind of pick it up. I had special things that I like to do to memorize things and stuff like that. So for me to memorize the playbook, it was kind of easy for me to get down with it. Oh, 100%. Also coming from U of A with Jeff Fish, it was the same thing. Coach Fish and Coach Shanahan, they're very similar when they ask for a lot of the receivers to block and get physical. So it's the same kind of mentality that I have. Arizona not coming into to here, so I'm definitely going to get the job done, do the best that I can to go out there and get W's in our column.
So you hear Jacob Cowing talking about his ability to block, his ability to process the 49ers offense, because Jed Fish, who was the coach over there at U of A, he's now the coach at the University of Washington. He actually ran a lot of what Kyle Shanahan runs with the 49ers, and he actually demanded that from receivers. And that's really good for San Francisco because there's a bigger chance they're going to be able to showcase this. We know that Danny Gray is fast. We also know that Jacob Cowing is fast, but we also know that Danny Gray has not broken through with the 49ers yet. And that's because there's other aspects of the game that you've got to master to see the field in this 49ers system. So what we just heard from Jacob Cowing, his belief that he can translate a lot of what was already related to the 49ers style of play from the University of Arizona under Jed Fish to the 49ers, I think that is significant. We're going to have to wait, kick back, and see how this is all going to unfold in training camp. But I think that this team became more receiver-oriented last year. Receiver efficiency went up. Stay tuned for Tuesday when I'm going to show you some of those numbers. And I think they're ready to take this to the next level just by the addition of talent to the room through Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing. You still have Deebo Samuel, too. By the way, I wouldn't count on a lot of these suppositions that we're seeing online. Oh, they're going to trade Deebo Samuel after this year. Only one more season for Deebo Samuel if they pay Brandon Aiyuk. Well, they're going to pay Brandon Aiyuk. We know that's coming up. And we also, I think, should know that Deebo Samuel's a player capable of an all-pro type of season. And if he does that, the 49ers are not in the business of jettisoning elite talent. That's not how this works in the National Football League. So stay tuned. You could see Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel and Brock Purdy on this team for some time to come, which is why I talk so much about the salary cap and I address so many of the misconceptions. The 49ers are in the business of retaining A-list players. And one of those A-list guys, Deebo Samuel, he was working out in the middle of the night. We'll play it one more time here because this is just such good stuff to finish it up. This is June 30th type of content. It's hot wherever Deebo Samuel is. He's going to be working out in the middle of the night. He's looking light, but that's light by Deebo standards. You still want him to look like a truck as far as his ability to run the opponents over. And I think that he's mastered the best of both worlds with the physique that he's in right now. All right, everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll talk to you a little bit later today. Peace out.